My parents disapproved of my sister's relationship, and it's tearing the family apart.
Keep the family together?
Yeah, trigger warning, homophobia. So my 21 female sister is not accepted by my 29 male parents for being attracted to the same gender. For some context, my little sister is a sapphic. Our family does not support her decisions, but I don't give an F who she sleeps with. When she came out, she was distanced from the family, but we started talking again after finding out our father is passing away. By the way, this comes from Throwaway, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So after things in the family were rocky for a long time, we decided to all get together at my parents' house. My dad said he wanted to put all the drama and bickering aside, and if we have a problem with each other, we can wait until he passes. Everyone agrees, including my sister, so I was expecting to have a nice family barbecue. My family wanted to meet my sister's girlfriend and insisted that she be brought over. We were all excited to meet her. My sister's girlfriend seemed like a nice girl, but she was very standoffish. She kept to herself and didn't speak much to my parents and me. For the most part, she was glued to my sister, and this caused some awkward silence. I started asking about their relationship. How did they meet? How long have they been together? And I even joked around about if she hurt my sister, blah, blah, blah. My parents started acting stranger by each question. I asked my mom what was wrong, and her response is, "This isn't right." I could tell my sister and her girlfriend were uncomfortable, and my dad tried to calm my mom down. My sister, probably fed up with being treated like crap for the last few years, spoke up and asked my parents what was the point of inviting them if she wasn't going to be okay with seeing them together. This caused my mother to explode with anger because she felt like my sister was being disrespectful. My mother goes on to say a lot of other things that I'm not going to say because I'll be banned, and my sister started to cry and hyperventilate. Her girlfriend starts to comfort her and tries to get her to calm down, and this causes my mom to tell her that if you're going to be dramatic and act like a child, you need to leave. You're upsetting your father. Before my sister could respond, her girlfriend is grabbing their things and taking my sister to the car. I tried to rationalize this whole situation with my parents. They were no use. They thought she was putting on a show in front of her girlfriend to make them look bad. They proceeded to say that they're allowed to be uncomfortable and feel differently than her. And I explained to them that this is who she loves. No one has to agree with it, but we should still love her. I've tried talking to my sister about the whole situation, and apparently I defend our parents too much. I told her that our parents don't have to agree with her relationship, but they should. She told me I'm being an a-hole for expecting her to pretend to be someone else just because our dad is passing away. Am I the a-hole? Reddit says a-hole. So some relevant comments though. Comment says, not the a-hole. Have you considered getting lost at sea for about 30 years so you don't have to talk to your family anymore? Seems like the best solution to me. OP responds, I'm sure if my father passes, we will go no contact with my sister again. Everything was okay until she came back around. I support a relationship and wish her the best, but I can't change the way the parents see her. Bishop goddang you info, can you tell us all the horrible crap your mom said? Because if it's as bigoted and vicious as I think it is, you're definitely the a-hole for not defending her. They set a trap and she walked right into it. Defend your sister. OP responds, I don't think saying what she said would do any justice. It's probably just as vicious as you think, even more if I'm being honest. I should have defended my sister instead of trying to keep the peace with our parents, and I see that very clearly now. Strangled in Moonlight says, dude, when you go around known bigots, you warn any LGBTQ plus people so they aren't blindsided and cannot attend if they can't handle bigotry and can harden their hearts against the cruelty they experience. Your parents would have been clowns even if she hadn't been standoffish because they are bigots. Your sister didn't start drama. She prepared her girlfriend accordingly. Just like you'd prepare your dates if your dad liked to pinch your girlfriend's butts, that's what you do.
Who are these dads?
What?
Where are they?
Is that a thing?
I think it's just like I envision just the crazy uncle or something.
Yeah,
Or like,
yeah.
Not the crazy uncle, but yeah, the skeevy uncle, you know?
Opie responds, first of all, my dad wouldn't do that. Second, I understand her telling her girlfriend don't accept her before coming. I'm sure she's known for a while. It's just hard for me to believe that all the drama with the hyperventilating sobbing was real, especially if she's known for years that our parents feel this way. The situation is so bad. Why put yourself through it? I'm starting to agree that maybe it was for attention, because why else would she be so eager to argue with her mom about her spicy relatedy? I don't get it. I'm generally starting to believe that she put on a show for her girlfriend and her girlfriend fell for it.
Putting on a show, she's crying because she's upset that her mom is hating her. She probably wants to connect with her dad, you know, because he's passing away. And like, dude.
All right. I feel like the more I read,
Yes.
the more I feel I am less on the side of OP.
Yeah.
I'm less on the side.
I think maybe OP, like thinking back to what you said before, is like, I don't care who she sleeps with. It's kind of that.
It's giving like, they can have whatever lifestyle they want. Just don't have it anywhere near me.
Yeah.
Not my damn backyard.
It kind of seems like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has like seemingly no empathy for what she's going through, like crying for attention.
Katie says, your mother said horrible things to your sister and her girlfriend that you can't type them out on effing Reddit, and you think your sister was faking being upset about that? And OP responds, I think the hyperventilating and sobbing was very dramatic. I understand her being upset for sure, but my dad didn't deserve the drama. The next Spot 77 says, your sister deserved the insults? And OP responds, not at all. I don't agree with my parents' opinions, but I do think it's uncomfortable to have to sit in silence for 2 minutes watching your sister cry and her girlfriend, a stranger, whisper sweet nothings to her. All while my mother is still angry and my dad is upset. And M. Brooka says, oh, well, you were uncomfortable for 2 minutes. That makes it all different. Your sister, who has endured a lifetime of abuse from her family, had an emotional breakdown, and the only one who came to her aid was her girlfriend. Not you, of course, because just watching it was so uncomfortable. You're the a-hole. And Opie responds, I understand and emphasize that this has been hard for her. I don't think she deserves to feel bombarded for I'm very happy for her that she's in what seems to be a healthy relationship with another loving woman. Her girlfriend comforting her wasn't the problem. It was the timing, and taking her away from our family only made it worse. Her and her girlfriend made my father's probably last family event about them and my sister feeling excluded. If you have never lost a parent, you won't understand how frustrating this is. I really hope my sister heals either way and finds a way to manage her panic attacks. And we do an update.
I mean, again, like, bro doesn't get it.
After receiving so much backlash from this post, I realized that I wasn't completely innocent in this situation.
Learnings?
Are we
going to grow?
Learnings. I want growth. I called my sister to apologize, to try to talk through things. I told her about the post I made despite wanting to keep this away from my family, and said that a lot of people explained to me how I'm being harmful and hurting her. I wanted her to see that I'm talking to some people who have been in a similar situation to her, and I thought she would see this as a sign that I'm trying for her. I feel like, I don't know, that could go both ways. It's like, oh, like, hey, I'm trying. I just dished our dirty laundry out to millions of internet strangers.
Yeah. I think we might be on a slippery path to growth where it's like, Opie's probably going to stumble and slip and fall, but I think there could be budding potential towards the
I think
right
there's
direction.
budding potential, but I think this might it's going to be rocky.
A little slippery.
She got really upset that I didn't come to her instead of the internet, but I told her I felt like I had no choice. Our parents wouldn't listen to me. She wouldn't listen to me. And the only people who have been are strangers online. I explained that I got a lot of advice on how I can support her from other people, a part of her community.
That's good.
That's good.
I'm curious to see.
I'm feeling the growth.
Oh, God. Pain is growth.
Pain is growth. My sister told me I had no right to talk about her business online without consulting her, even if it's anonymous. She wanted to see the post. I assumed that she saw some of my comments I made when I was being defensive and immature, and in hindsight, I should have deleted them before agreeing to send her post. She started to cry and told me that we've always made her feel like a burden on her family for things she can't help, being sapphic, having a panic disorder, and other things that I won't share out of respect for her. She went on to say some other things. One of the things that she always said was that you could listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. And there's more to this story. What do we think about this bumbling growth?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that I saw here that gave me hope was talking to other people in the community. I think that is going to help him understand and actually see what is to be done here.
I apologize for making her uncomfortable and making her feel like a burden. I also told her that I love her and nothing will change that. Before I had the chance to say more, her girlfriend took the phone and told me that I needed to leave my sister alone. She said that I can't contact my sister until she's ready to talk to me. Then she hung up. It was really heartbreaking to hear my sister cry over something that I had good intentions for. I texted her privately and asked if she wanted me to take the post down, and she told me that she doesn't care. She just wants to be left alone. And the relevant comments, OP and why the post is deleted. Please don't try to explain my sister's feelings to me. She knows about the post. She's seen my comments, and she said she didn't care if it stayed up or not. If she's reading it, which is more than likely, that's her choice. I haven't defended my parents since I talked to my sister. I haven't deleted this or the comments because every now and then someone actually gives good advice instead of arguing with me about something they know nothing about. And that is where the story ends.
My cousin's wife tried to dump their son on me at the airport without my permission.
Not the kind of dump that you want to take at the airport.
It was my very first semester as a college freshman. I officially moved into my college dorm to start this new chapter of my life. I'm an international student, so it was a tough experience once reality settled. Thankfully, I had my cousin, whom I hadn't seen in years, and his wife, who lived in Dallas, help me get US number, bedding, school supplies. By the way, this comes from Just Scrolling 375. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Fast forward to Thanksgiving break. I accepted my cousin's offer to go to Dallas for the break since it was better than staying in the dorms. I met his 2 kids, a son and a daughter. We catch up with each other, seeing how our lives went up to that point. The break ended and I went back to college to study for finals. And then it happened. My cousin's wife asked for a favor via text. The favor? Take their 8-year-old son home back to the Caribbean with me because his godmother wanted to see him. I told her that I wasn't able to do that because I didn't know when my exams were finished. I actually did know when. I just told her that so she would leave me alone or do something herself. I already made up my mind with my mom's support that I wasn't doing that. Fast forward weeks later, I was chill in the airport, minding my own business when my good cousin calls me. He asked if I was doing something for his wife. I told him no, and I explained. He thanked me, and I thought that that was the end of it. So kind of
he
like
thanked him for not doing anything.
I think he
Like, thanks for not giving me my wife that favor.
I guess like thanks for like letting me know, maybe. I don't know. But no, I saw her with the son holding a suitcase in a carry-on as I was walking up to my gate. My cousin was nowhere to be seen. I asked her what she was doing, and she gave me some sob story of how his godmother wanted to see him and told him that he'll be good as he was hugging my leg. I was shocked. I felt my heart race. The groups were being called, and I had to make a decision. Note, I had just turned 18 at the time.
He's a fresh 18.
Bro, he's barely legal. I barely knew this child. I like to have everything in order and pre-planned to avoid confusion, and this would complicate everything. Furthermore, immigration would be on my case. Finally, I don't know who the godmother is or how she looks. I told her no, stating that if she wanted to do this, they could have planned a family trip together and not dump their kid on me. She said she had already bought the ticket and I might as well take him. I told her no again. And
take him where? He doesn't know where he's taking her.
Yeah, he doesn't even know where he's taking him to.
Just like take my kid to the Bahamas.
Yeah, like in the Caribbean,
somewhere.
It's like, dude, there's a lot of places in the Caribbean. What city, what port, like what are we talking about? I told her no again, and I went on my flight. My family was proud of me for standing my ground as they didn't like her either. Turns out that sometime after or during the pandemic, my cousin and his wife got divorced. Opie says, understandable. His now ex-wife went behind his back trying to get his son on an international flight when they could have planned a family trip together. Thanks for reading. Getting into these relevant comments. Commenter number 1, well done for not bowing down under pressure. You absolutely did the right thing. I can't fathom what goes on in the minds of people like this. I mean, how does that even make sense to anyone? Even if you had agreed, I would think that you'd need at least notarized letters giving you permission to take someone else's minor on an aircraft, let alone to a foreign country.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some permission slips or something.
Something. Opie says, thank you. It was my first grown-up decision. To be honest, I don't know how people like her function. She's basically putting her son in the hands of a stranger. I met the son during the break. Overall, she probably only cared about herself. This was almost 5 years ago, so I'm not sure if she had notarized letters. Commenter number 2 says, I highly doubt she even botherized with notarized letters. She was trying to pull a dump and run at your expense. Opie replies, considering that she went behind her husband's back and did it while he was at work, I wouldn't be surprised. Trying to send her son to his godmother, not even to an actual relative. Yeah, that's another good point. It's like,
yeah, this is like so many levels of being pawned off.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. To the godmother, like no sister. No,
yeah,
like
we're doing a little bit like
grandma?
Throw this kid away, merry-go-round, you know?
Oh, goodness. Commenter number 3 says, flying internationally with a child requires documentation, especially when not immediate family. They probably would not have let him board and possibly detained you, causing you to miss your flight. That would have been awful, although it would have been an interesting story.
Pretty funny. We would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well, not enjoyed it, but enjoyed it.
Yes. Opie said, that's what I'm saying. My grandpa works for an airline, so he knows the rules and regulations. For all I know, she probably had some story to say that we were close cousins to avoid proper documentation and just to let us on board. Commenter number 4 says,
that is big yawn.
Big one.
Big yawn, John.
Commenter number 4 says, I'm getting this hunch that the kid's father knew nothing about her being at the airport and had not been given any permission for his young son to leave the country this way. I'm not surprised your cousin and this entitled idiot are divorced now. And Opie says, your hunch is correct. I took a morning flight back home, so it was around 8 or 9 a.m. when he called me about his wife. I had a good hour or half hour before she confronted me alone with their son while at the airport. So my cousin was probably at work when all of this down. And OP also clarifies on the timeline of when this took place. They got divorced after the incident. The story was in 2018 and the divorce was in 2020, 2021. Commenter number 5 says, you said that your cousin has 2 kids, a son and a daughter. So where was the daughter? Why was she only trying to send the son away? That actually is a good question. If it's like a custody thing, it's like, why not?
Is her favorite one.
I mean, honestly, though,
no way.
I mean, this mom is insane enough to try to pawn her kid off.
There's no way.
Plan.
Yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Either way, it was absolutely not okay to do, and I'm glad that you stood firm. Opie said she was more strict with the daughter, so the daughter was probably home when all of this happened. Also, thank you. And then Opie explains how the wife managed to find them at the airport. She had a good hour to find the gate for the morning flight. I already went to the security at the regional airport I was in before I arrived in Dallas. I had no idea how she got herself through security in Dallas. Oh, that's another good question. How did she get through security
with the kid?
With the kid.
Well, maybe when you have a minor that's traveling alone, you can like
accompany them to the gate. But no, usually my understanding is they usually give you a person.
I saw a minor go to a gate, and he was like a big boy, like probably 12, and just like he was definitely an O-line for some football team. He was like 5'2" or something, but he's just a big boy. Like you can't carry him away. And he just had like a little like lanyard badge around him, and he was just sitting there like, you know, if someone tried to kidnap him, they know where he's from. They got his address and phone number on there.
All I know was she and her son were in a nearby sitting area where my gate was. We have an update.
We have an update.
The kid made it to the Caribbeans.
Yeah.
He showed up at Opie's door like, where's my godmother?
Please help me.
Dude.
I've been surviving in the jungle for 3 days.
I've been eating coconuts off the trees.
And skinning alive the wild boars.
Oh.
My mom told me how to do it, and she raised me in the wilderness.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, dude.
Worst mom of the year
Kid
award
is
over
feral.
Here. Come on. Opie says, I saw my good cousin again around 2 years ago for a family event. He brought the son with him. My family told me what happened. Okay, so I think we're getting like the full...
Finally, I want full disclosure.
Yes. So he and his wife obviously got divorced likely around the pandemic or slightly before. My cousin got full custody over his son and he became a good kid. Now he has a new and awesome girlfriend. So what happened to the ex-wife? She moved back to the Caribbean, and that's all I could tell since I removed her from my friends list and other members of my family don't care about her. That's the end of the story. Sorry wasn't insane or as engaging as others. Sometimes it's good to have some normalcy. My cousin's wife tried to put their young son on a plane. We have one relevant comment. What happened to the daughter? Yeah, that's actually a great question.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, no one cared.
Yeah, apparently. Opie said she's fine and either went to college or into the workforce. Like Opie's like, she's fine. She grew up and got a legal ID document and probably eats food. Like, yeah, she got a job.
Yeah.
Good hunch. Commenter number 2 says, I think she was trying to kidnap the kids out of U.S. jurisdiction. Luckily, Opie didn't. Cousin would have had a hard time trying to repatriate the son. I guess get the son back. Opie said, I literally met his wife and son that year. I have no emotional attachment or legal obligations to them whatsoever. He just met this freaking kid, dude. And seriously, who was even his godmother anyways? Commenter number 3 says, that's probably why she picked you to trick since you didn't know what was going on. And Opie said, yeah, it's been 7 years since then. But even then, I knew she was on some BS. I don't remember the conversation clearly, but my mom and I both agreed not to help her with this scheme. I had finals, so I ignored her texts and calls, hoping that she'd get the message. Then this woman pulls up to the gate with the kid. I operate on a tight schedule and like to have all my things in order before I do anything. So I don't know what made her think I was going to agree with it. She didn't offer me anything to convince me to even consider it.
Not even like some cash or something?
Yeah, not even something. Yeah, like, oh, hey, here's some like babysitting money. I like $100. Yeah, 18-year-old.
$100 could go a long way.
Maybe then you have like a fighting chance. Just take the kid and deal with it yourself. That was
not even money for like, I don't know, a cab to the godmother's house.
Or to feed him. Like, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, we literally, like, this 8-year-old is going to survive on airplane peanuts and pretzels until we get to The God. By the way, we don't even know the godmother's name. We don't know her address. We know nothing. It's just like,
hey, that's part of the adventure, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
Sounds
find
like
her
the adventure of a lifetime.
Like, find some like little house on the sandy shores of the Caribbean and then pass them off. I don't know. But that's the end of the story.
What a wild
top 100 parents right here.
Yeah, facts, dude.
Right?
Facts. Oh my God. My parents called the cops on my sister. I don't think I'll ever forgive them. My 30 female younger sister, 24 female, is neurodivergent, most likely on the autism spectrum. She's never been diagnosed because her parents don't believe in that and are adamant that she is very intelligent. She just needs to work harder. They've had this stance her entire life and never allowed her to be placed in a special ed or got her any kind of therapeutic support when it became apparent that she was not developing in the same way as most of her peers. By the way, this comes from a Video Cortis, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So their stance was and is that she just doesn't apply herself or work hard enough. My sister is very high functioning, very sweet and gentle, but socially awkward. She struggles with things like time management, interpreting social situations, and understanding long-term consequences of actions. She kind of stopped maturing socially around 12 and has a lot of markers that correspond with autism or Asperger's. Our parents were emotionally and mentally harmful to both of us growing up, especially our mother. She would pit us against each other, so there was always a good child and bad child in any conflict scenario, and we had to compete to win her favor. Our parents also knowingly allowed us to be exposed to a number of spicy, relatedly predatory adult men during our childhood and teen years because they were family members or friends of the family, then dismissed or ignored any inappropriate behavior or blamed it on us, even if it happened right in front of them. When I came out as bi, they forced me to break up with my first and then second girlfriends by forbidding me from seeing them. I could go on, but if you get a better picture of my parents in general, just spend a few minutes on r/raised by self-absorbed parents. They are examples of their personality and behavior patterns in literally every post here. Despite all this, I've had a good relationship with my sister since I moved when I went to college in the city where I've been living since, which is about 90 minutes away by car. I've been no contact with my parents for about 6 years. Around that time, when my sister was in her senior year of the Catholic school, which they'd sent her to because she needed more discipline. They pulled her out of school because they decided they didn't like the politics of her social studies teacher. They're very conservative, but not religious. Since then, she's failed the GED twice that I know of. And of course, our parents have refused to get her a tutor. They also live in a very rural location with no public transport options. So she's dependent on her mom to drive her literally everywhere, including to her part-time job. She has had her learner's permit, but they have refused to teach her to drive or get her an instructor, then blame her from being dependent on them for transportation. Because of her inability to leave the house and the fact that she has bounced around from school to school throughout her teen years, her friends are all online. I've only seen my sister once since going no contact when her mom let her hang out with me in a museum in the city where I live, and that was about 5 years ago. She's wanted to visit me since then, but is held back by a lot of factors, including the fact that she's reliant on our mom for transportation and severe anxiety, which I have struggled with too, the surprise of exactly no one. A couple weeks ago, after trying and failing multiple times to get her to take the bus to the city, I finally got her a cab to the bus stop and stayed on the phone with her the whole time so she felt safer. I picked her up and she stayed with my partner and me in our apartment for a few days. We had a great time and it was nice to bond with her as an adult. The day before she had to be back at her part-time job, we sent her home on the bus. I stayed in contact with her by text until she got to the town where her parents were supposed to pick her up. She apparently waited there in a cafe for about 2 hours before our mom decided to show up. A couple hours later, I got a call from my sister wailing like I've never heard her cry before, barely intelligible. I managed to calm her down enough for her to tell me what was going on. She got home. They had cleaned her room and thrown all of her clothes into boxes, regardless of whether they were dirty or clean. She understandably freaked out and started digging through looking for her work uniform because she had to go to work in the morning and ended up dumping everything out on the floor. It was at that point our mom decided to call the cops.
What? Oh my God.
When my sister told me this part, I kind of brushed it off because she's threatened stuff like that all the time. It's always an empty threat aimed at controlling target. But this time, she actually followed through. So the cops showed up and my sister called me hysterically, crying again. She said the cops had called an ambulance for her and she was afraid they were going to lock her up or have her put away, and then hung up abruptly. I immediately called the non-emergency police number, explained the situation, and asked them to call me with any updates in case I lost contact with my sister. They let her keep her cell phone in the ambulance and while she was in the hospital. And when she got there, she called me while she was with the nurse, and the nurse asked to speak with me. She explained what was going on. Basically, they were just holding her for evaluation and taking her vitals. Her assessment was that my sister wasn't mentally unstable or violent. She just seemed extremely anxious, scared, and added that she was very sweet. I held it together during the phone call, but broke down crying as soon as I hung up.
I get it. I mean, like, insane. It's like the medical professional is like, yeah, she's totally fine. She's just like super anxious and scared because of this insane, like because
they said, her parents are like turning against her and literally making her get arrested by the cops almost. She saw a social worker about an hour later, and the social worker called me as well. She'd already spoken to her dad before calling me, and it turns out he lied about basically everything, including my own mental stability. Apparently, I've been in and out of psychiatric care for years and years, which was an attempt to call me crazy, I think. Which is ironic because my very last communication with them was via email begging them to go on medication or family therapy with me, which I offered to pay for. My father's response was a 10-paragraph email that included the accusation that I was trying to psychologize him. Let me know if anyone knows what the heck that means.
You're psychologizing me.
I think you mean psychoanalyzing. For the record, I've been in solo therapy as an adult for the past 6 years, and it has been an immensely useful tool, which has helped me grow as a person, as well as deal with all this. The social worker asked me if I thought it was safe for her to go home, and I hesitated before clarifying that while yes, her parents are emotionally abusive, they're not physically abusive, and I don't have a place for her to stay long term. So she went back home when they released her from the hospital. The state police finally called me around midnight that night, and I spoke to the trooper who arrived at the scene. He seemed, one, confused as to why they were called when it became apparent that it was a domestic dispute and not an emotionally disturbed person. And he had been led to believe, he said, my sister seemed very sweet and that she was definitely not a threat to anyone. And two, unsure how to handle the situation himself. And at which point he asked my sister if she would like to speak to someone. To reiterate, my sister does not understand many conversational nuances or figures of speech. So in her mind, that did not mean going to a hospital. That meant literally talking to someone. So that's how the ambulance got called. Things were pretty quiet for a couple of days until I got another call from my sister, scream crying. Our parents said they were going out of town for something, but actually went to the police station. My sister saw this on the family tracker app they all use and freaked the F out. Apparently, our parents had been threatening her every day with having her locked up, meaning institutionalized, if she doesn't comply with the list of rules they've come up with. So she was fully under the belief that her parents were at the police station to report her for something and that she was about to go to jail or a psych hospital. As she was on the phone with me, she was frantically running through the 1,500-acre state park bordering our parents' property. Also, her phone was passing away. I advised her to head back home, and she replied that she was lost. She had gone off trail. I told her to save battery and try to come back the way she'd gone. We grew up in the woods, so I wasn't too worried at that point. This is also not the first time she's run into the woods in a state of heightened emotion. There's literally nowhere else to run to from where they live. Called back 2 hours later, still lost. Then her phone died. So I called the non-emergency number again and explained the whole situation, including the events of the other day. They said they'd send someone over right away. 2 more hours later, my sister called me back. The troopers had shown up at the same time our parents returned, which led to some confusion as our parents didn't even know she was missing. They found her pretty quickly. Apparently, she had not gone far, didn't get in any trouble. And apparently, the reason our parents had gone to the police station is that one of the many authority figures they met the other day, either a healthcare worker or a cop, informed them that there was the possibility they'd be charged with filing a false police report. They went down to the station to clear things up.
I mean, hopefully they get charged with something.
So basically, they had to pay for a very expensive ambulance ride and then got told they were a-holes for calling the cops in the first place. Will they learn anything? Probably not.
Yep.
Things have not been quiet since, meaning they yell at my sister their normal amount over extremely petty BS, but no one has called the cops or ambulance again. My sister wants to come visit again, but I'm fully convinced that everything that went down was a punishment for her visiting me without their help or permission. I don't want to repeat that experience. I've struggled over the past few years with not being in a position to help my sister more. I can provide emotional support whenever needed and let her know that she always has a place to crash with me if she wants to, or if things at home get bad enough for her to leave. Punting her out or me out is a threat our mom has had a habit of constantly throwing around the most minor transgression. but has yet to follow through on. I told my sister if that ever happens, she can stay with me and I will help her with finding a job and apartment however else I can. Currently, I can't financially support her even if moving in with me was an option, which it is not. My partner and I live in a 1-bedroom with a weird layout where even if we turned the living room into a bedroom, it would give neither her nor us much privacy, so it's not a long-term solution. And frankly, I've never wanted the responsibility of being a surrogate parent to my sister. I'm willing to support her in a normal sister way and also help her get external support. Problem is, I don't know where to start or what to do. I know the first step is to get her a proper diagnosis. The social worker I spoke to recommended a couple of teaching hospitals near me that have autism programs. I would be willing to bring her, but the issue is getting her here and back without incident. By the way, if you want to get here and back in life without incident, you should listen to full stories of episodes just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. She's also traumatized from her experience being taken to a hospital and is afraid if she gets evaluated or diagnosed, they will slap her with a crazy stamp and institutionalize her. The way I approach bringing her to see a qualified professional has to be very delicate. I also know from there I should contact social services and see if she qualifies for disability, which can help her with housing as well. I'm just new to navigating all of this, especially the social services system, so any advice, resource, insights, or personal comments would be welcome. Responses from OP. Commenter 2, I think the first step needs to be getting out of your parents' house. It's clear that she cannot stay there for much longer. You should reach out to domestic violence shelters in the area to see if they would be willing to help since this is a domestic situation. Keep in touch with the social worker too. Getting a diagnosis will be helpful for getting her on disability, but getting her out is more important. She seems to be functioning well enough to have a part-time job. Does she understand that she's neurodivergent in some way and know that she has to get help in order to leave? I think she needs a whole lot of reassurance that she's capable of leaving. And OP responds, thank you. Yes, she is aware that she's different, but gets upset if I mention specific terms like autistic. Comment 3, reading your post is heartbreaking as hell. Your parents have it drilled into her head that hospitals are bad and being labeled equals a psych ward. You really need to talk to her about the hospitals the social worker talked about and ensure she shouldn't be alone because she has you. Your relationship with her will never be the normal kind until she's away from those people and she's getting help. And OP responds, yep, you nailed it. I brought it up to her as tactfully and as gently as possible. Last time we talked, the phrasing I used was talk to a therapist rather than get an evaluation, and she seemed cautiously okay with that. The issue is finding a way to get her to the office, but it seems like the first step is to get her into her own place, or at least out of there. And that is where this story ends.